choice. We've also been hearing today that 1,700 jobs are at risk after DW Sports announced it's going into administration. Fitness Group says it's going to wind up its retail business with its website closing immediately, followed by its stores. The company says its income was wiped out by the long closure of shops and gyms during lockdown. Well, let's talk more about that now here on LBC News. Delighted to say I'm joined by UKactives CEO Hugh Edwards. Very good evening to you.
Good evening.
Well, thanks for joining us here on LBC News. It really has been a tough time for a lot of industries, but particularly, presumably, gyms, which have been among the places closed longer than anywhere.
Absolutely. It's been a very tough period of time, and the sector only got open at the end of last week, on the 25th of July. But there still remains a lot of support required for the sector, even in this reopening phase. And, we offered our full support to DW Sports and the team there. They've had a really tough time, obviously looking at the financial package that we've requested from government, issues around rate, issues around VAT, have probably contributed to the decision they've taken today. And hopefully they will be able to retain a number of those gyms, because ultimately we need to get the nation healthy, and they have a key role to play in that.
What have you suggested to the government in terms of help that's required?
Well, there's two things really. There's a need for clarity, especially as the sector has reopened. We have a very challenging situation right now in Bradford, where the gyms and leisure centres have had to close again without any clarity whatsoever as to why. They'd only been open for 5 days. All the guidance around the closures in the northwest of England have been around different areas around societal behaviour, and to close the gyms and leisure centres in Bradford seems unfair. And should be addressed immediately with government intervention. The secondly is around financial support, and incentives as well for the sector to get back to the capacity and the levels that it was experiencing pre-COVID. So, you've seen what the other sectors like hospitality have received in terms of VAT reductions. You've also seen the campaign which has gone live today in terms of Eat Out to Help Out. The sector needs those similar levels of incentives, and the government has those plans on the table, because actually this is a key sector in supporting the fight against COVID-19, both through prevention and getting people's health and well-being resilience levels up, but also through rehabilitation as well. So it is very important that the government takes the learnings from DW Sports situation today and acts with greater urgency in supporting a vital sector for the nation.
Well, do we need something as simple as Workout to Help Out?
Absolutely. I mean, we've had a plan on the table with government for a number of months now, looking at extending the cycle to work scheme to include home equipment and gym membership. We will continue to have those conversations, but a similar campaign which looks at that, which will give positivity to customer confidence as well. The quality and the calibre of the work that the sector has done and UKactiv members have done over the last few months in terms of the highest levels of sanitation, the representing and respecting social distancing, and also we have an inbuilt track and trace system within our membership databases, means that it's one of the safest things to be doing as we go into easing of lockdown, and we need to support the sector a lot more because it has a vital role to play in getting our nation healthy if we anticipate second spikes coming down the line.
And of course the government's been talking about their obesity strategy over the last couple of weeks or so. They do want people to get more active.
Absolutely, and there are entrenched health inequalities in our society right now, and in order to do that, the campaigns are good. Better health is good, but it really needs to be backed up by more investment, more regulatory and taxation support. And that's going to see and you're targeting areas and targeting cohorts who need that particular support. And so whilst backing the campaigns, of course, and we'll support the campaigns, you need to have a lot more regulatory taxation and investment into the sector in order to support it. Because you have a situation where you have situations like DW today, you have a leisure sector which is on its knees as well. The infrastructure is crumbling around the government right now around sport and physical activity, and that needs to be urgently addressed.
Are you worried we might see more places within the fitness industry going the way of DW Sports?
Yeah, well, we had the opening of the sector on the 25th of July, but there's probably around 35% of facilities that didn't open because they couldn't because of financial constraints. And so there's a real stark warning to the government that the health and well-being of the nation is vital. We understand that. They're very concerned about getting people's health and well-being resilience up to support a second spike. You saw that in all the promotion last week around the obesity plan. You can't do that without the fitness and leisure sector, and it needs to have that financial backing, that taxation support, and that priority given to it in order for it to have that key role it can play in improving the health of the nation.
Well, thank you very much for your time here on LBC News. That's UKactives CEO Hugh Edwards talking to me here on LBC News. On LBC News. On LBC News.